Nguyen! Ever told you how much I don't like Austin?
I said it.
Here we go. Packet pickup time. Captex, Monday morning. So checking in involves getting your bib number and verifying who you are. And it's important that your bib number and bike number match. It has to match when you go to bike check-in. Check-in your bike involves walking around looking for your rack where your bike belongs, and then off to team dinner. And for me, it doesn't end with team dinner. I've come to develop several rituals before bedtime as I get ready for the next morning. I don't know how this ritual started, but I've taken a liking to polishing the piggies. Rituals are just a way of me having some sense of control, because once we're out there, we're out there. It's just now 8:11. It's still light outside. For me, it's time for bed. See you in the morning. Next thing you know, it's Monday morning. So this is it. Everybody's out here doing the same things. Running into longtime triathlon friends, hi Miriam, and making sure my setup is exactly the way I want it. And before you know it, we're off. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's into the water for 750 meters, a swim, out of the water, into transition, grab your gear and your bike, and it's out for a 12.6 mile ride. This was not intended to be my A event for the year. This was just to put me in a competitive environment to see how my cycling time has improved. But it's always nice to come out with swag. Nice little finisher medal. I love that the bibs are personalized. It's just all in all a good time. I don't always start out in such a great mood. In fact, I end up freaking out just before events. So I'm in Austin, I'm getting ready to do this event, and I promise you, not just Monday at work, Wednesday at work, and then every day up until probably tomorrow morning, there's this thing that creeps into my mind of, why are you doing this? You can't do this. Are you sure you want to swim open water? You're going to drown. I mean, this whole self-doubt thing that I can't seem to get over. It was recently told to me by someone else, oh, it's just jitters. I don't know. Is that just jitters? Is that, I don't know. I'm going to end up doing it anyway, but I always have this thing.
Well, the first word that comes to me is fear. I mean, obviously you're not going to drown, right? Probably. Yeah. You're good. Yeah. It's like there are moments where it physically feels like a big deal worrying about something like this, right?
Absolutely.
So I always try to say back up for a second and ask yourself, why did I decide to do this? Like not in a panic mode, like, whoa, I'm an idiot. Why did I decide to not? But like literally when I saw it and I was like thinking about the registration and making the plan, like when you were excited about it, when you first started thinking about it, what was your thought about the goal? Like, why do I want to do this?
Like,
it's not hard. I mean, you guys have plenty of other stuff to do. So what drew you to it?
So like, what's my why basically? And it's, exactly. I enjoy competition. I don't know why. That's just a little thing about me. I like to compete, always have. This isn't really about competing. It's checking my bike speed in a competitive environment, preparing me for my senior games deal in July. And I love that spent feeling, that icky, sweaty, gross.
Satisfaction, but it's satisfaction, right?
Right, exactly.
Like you know you just did something.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's okay to have that kind of feeling, right? I mean, it's okay. That's maybe a natural thing that happens.
The difference is, does a thought pop into your head, like, oh my gosh, I've got that race on Monday. Okay, I've got that race on Monday, and like you move on, or do you start, and we can get into this a little more later, but but the process of what happens, like how deep you go in that and how it affects you, to me would be the measure of, is this a problem, or is this just a normal?
Yeah.
It's a mix of excitement and anticipation and a little bit of fear, which is anything big, whether it's a wedding, having a baby, a new job, a road trip, a race. Those are, I mean, we're human beings. We have feelings about things. And so it's sort of sitting back, like I said, and looking at, okay, now why did I decide to do this? Is that a real reason? Is that a solid reason? Yeah. I love doing these things, right?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. And the concept is to switch the mindset from I'm nervous to I'm excited, because both have the same hormone release.
Same physiological kind of.
Exactly. But the way you see it in your mind helps you manage it better. So, yeah. And then so it even moves into sometimes that, not necessarily self-loathing, but it's like, man, that's really stupid. I can't believe you signed up for this. Golly, and sometimes getting that little, not just the doubt, but even the negative kind of pick. So, then I'm having to like, well, no, I don't need that right now or ever. So how?
Or ever. So that's part of the whole, the why, because they're kind of, you can have inspiration as the reason for doing something, right? Or you can have desperation as the reason for doing something.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Depending on what your reason is. And for some people, like you and I could say, I made a bet, or I really need money, and somehow someone said, I'll pay this much if you do this race, and and so for me, it could be desperation to do the exact same thing you're doing, right? But in my world, it's desperation. For you, it's, I'm training for the senior games. I am so grateful. I was so grateful that my surgery went well, and that I'm able to do this again, that I'm able to do something that is good for my spirit, good for my body. Like, I am stoked. I am about this. This makes me feel more like Irene.
Right. And in that, truly, that self-talk can make a difference eventually in your performance, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. If you're really trashing yourself, you go out and have a bad event. If you're pimping yourself or positively, taking care of yourself, you may have a really great event.
It's a double-edged sword, right? Because it is so powerful. So that's awesome, right? That you can say something to yourself that's amazingly powerful. That's awesome, depending on what you say.
True.
Right? You can pump yourself up, or you can take yourself down. And so what that comes in, what I was going to talk about before, is that thoughts are nouns. Okay. A thought is a noun. It's something that pops into your head. It's neutral information in the present, right?
Okay.
Just comes in, you contemplate it. You're like, information.
Okay.
And those are usually okay, because they're not right or wrong, right? It's like keys on the piano. The only reason the key matters is a wrong key is in the framework of the rest of the song. There's no wrong key on the piano, right? A thought is just, there it is.
Yeah.
But it's the thinking we do when we hit into the verb. The verb of thinking about the thought is where we get into trouble. Because what we're doing then is we've lost sense of where we are right now in the moment of actually taking in information with our five senses and what's happening, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And we have gone down the rabbit hole, and we are hopping back and forth between the past and the future. So we're dipping into all the old tapes and messages that we have from maybe our parents, maybe past coaches, maybe just even stuff we thought about ourselves before, or things that have happened, injuries, losing, catastrophes, whatever. We're in the past, and then we take that and we go, oh God, let's go to the future and freak out about all that stuff from the past, right?
Right. Okay.
So when we do that, we spend all this energy on stuff we can't do anything about, and we're totally not present. We're totally not focused. And when you look at athletes or performers or people, and they talk about being in the zone, or they talk about the flow.
Yes. Yeah.
What is the one thing they're not doing?
As weird as it sounds, they're not thinking. Yes.
Exactly.
It's just doing. They're in that moment only. That's the flow.
their ability to do that comes from lots of training, right? It comes training their body and training their mind, because it becomes muscle memory. They've trained, they know at this mile they need to do this, at this time they need to do this rounding this bend, they need to kick it in. Like they're a machine almost with this. They've trained. And in doing so, they just stay present in their body and they're breathing and what they're doing. And they're not at all thinking about their last race, their next race, that maybe the finish line, but probably not even the finish line, probably just going as fast as they can. Like, what's your inspiration? Because if your inspiration is, and I think about your races when we've talked about this, whether it was, you're like, I just want to finish it. I mean, a couple of times in the beginning, it was just like, I just want to be able to finish it.
So now I'm going to where I am now, and in menopause, things have really changed, and I do want to bring up this thing. I tend to be a bit of a nerd, and I know you can't see it, but it's a story that I found. It says, how does menopause affect your mental health? Two things that I got from this article were kind of, I think, what we're talking about. First one is that women who have a sour attitude towards menopause overwhelmingly have more problematic menopausal symptoms. If you think it's probably going to happen. And then the other one says that other studies indicate that feeling negative about menopause actually worsens the symptoms they experience, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So kind of same. It's maybe not about an event, but for women who are like dreading menopause or in the middle of it or peri or whatever, it's like, oh, this sucks, because they already have this preconceived notion that it's going to suck.
Right. And I think that the biggest challenge in terms of that is, well, what I think of is resiliency. Like when I think of, being older and being a woman, is I try to think of resiliency, right? Which does connect with that, I think, in some ways, because it's an attitude of, as we get older, even, as kids become in their young 20s, as any of us move along the chronological, we'll look that way for you, continuum, we look at what have we done? And with social media being like it is, and comparison is the thief of joy, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. And the older we get, the less we have the shiny and the slim and the smooth and all the things that our society appears to value most. So if you buy into that, we're all supposed to stay 25, which of course would make you dread menopause, right?
Yes.
Then it's a downward spiral kind of. And if you stop and go, what have I done? What have I done? What has my body done? What have I done in my life? And you surround yourself with people who value those things, then you just have a whole different outlook. But if you stop and list, any woman, if you stop and list the things you've done, the things you've survived, the things, it's amazing by the time you're hitting menopause. I mean, even if you never married, never had children, didn't go to school, it doesn't matter. Even if you take all the shiny things off the table, just anybody's story to make it 40, let's say 45 years plus. Yeah. Then, I mean, the resiliency that we exhibit, if we stop and look at, that's the measure of our ability, like what we've done, right? We have badges of honor for living this long and still being here to be in the game, right?
Right. Yeah.
And things we know that the shiny, supple young people don't know yet. I mean, it's our job to help them. Like it's a rite of passage. We've moved. We're not the crones yet, but we're the queens, but we've moved into a place where it's our job to help support the women behind us and coming up behind us, and having self-loathing about a little extra weight, more wrinkles, all the things. I mean, it's just, are those really the things that matter? I mean, we have so much more to offer, so many more important things than the shell at this point. That, I mean, don't think I'm wrong. I mean, I'm putting on my moisturizer and wearing my sunscreen, and I mean, I'm doing those things, but there's always going to be someone better, faster, thinner, smarter, prettier, more clever, taller, thinner, shorter. There's always, and even as an Olympian, think about it. They may not have been born yet, but someone's going to beat your record. It's going to happen, right? So to energy on that comparison and thinking I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, there's someone better, whatever things, like that goes back to your goals. If your goal is really something that aligns with your values, if your reason for doing something aligns with your values, you're not comparing yourself to anybody else because it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else.
It'd be better than you were yesterday, basically.
Yeah, your only competition is you, right? Your only real competition. So the main thing is to remember there's only one person in this life who is there for you for the entire journey. One person. And that's you.
That's me. Okay.
And we say things to ourselves we would never say to someone else. We say things to ourselves that if we heard a second party say to a third party, we would intervene.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask about that, right?
You and I would be like, oh, hell no.
And if we heard somebody telling somebody else that, for sure, yeah.
Not have it.
We're going to have problems.
So here's this person, the only person you're responsible for, the only person who really has your back, literally from the moment you hit the earth till the moment you leave the earth, this loyal person. Don't they deserve some respect and some decency, right? And when you start thinking that way, and none of us, you and I at least, don't love the words self-care, self-love, self-compassion. It feels a little woo-woo, right? So I don't know. I would say just be nice. Let's call it being nice. Just be nice. Because that person is there for you and they deserve that loyalty. And there are a lot of things you can do to start really thinking, why do I do that? Not too much thinking, but really examining the faulty thinking of why. Just kind of showing yourself some grace, through thinking of some other thing. When you think of something else, it sort of gets you off of yourself, and then you just get into a good zone about thinking about things that are more positive. And I'm not against the traditional affirmations. People are like, do an affirmation, put it on your mirror. And I'm like, those are nice. But I think when we get back into the thinking and the thoughts and all that, and if you're struggling with how you feel about yourself, to me, I find a really good quote, an inspirational quote, a poem, a song, a little phrase, a mantra. If you can come up with a mantra of your own, just like, do it scared or whatever whatever you need, whatever. I find those a little bit better because it's just, you have that visceral reaction to them and you don't have to analyze, like, you are wonderful. Like, I don't feel wonderful today. My foot hurts. You talk yourself out of the affirmations that are super personal, but other things that you connect with, to me, like a song or a poem or a quote, like I'm drawn, like I'm like jazzed when I find something like that I connect with. Just to see it, I'm like, yeah.
Shannon, thank you so much for your great words. Fantastic interview. Thank you so much. And thank you for helping me. Drop your comments. Get up, get out, get something.